It's The Truth with Mark Staufer and Ian Wishart.
And to be perfectly honest, it's bedlam in here. We're trying to get... There are a lot of buttons and knobs. Okay, so what we need to do... My name is Mark Staufer. Across from the desk from me is Ian Wishart. And I need to tell you a story about Ian Wishart. You may have heard of him.
Nobody knows me. Nobody at all.
He's a bit crazy. Let's take you back to July 1985. Operation Satanique. Does that ring any bells, Ian?
Je ne parle pas français.
Yeah, exactly right. So, Ian Wishart and I have known each other for so long that we were flatting together in Simon Street, and on the 10th of July 1985, the Rainbow Warrior was blown up in Auckland Harbour. Now, you know, I was news director at 89 FM at the time, and Ian was the assistant news director, and I don't know what I was doing, probably having a glass of red wine or hanging out, and I heard the news, and it was like, oh, okay, that's great. Ian comes running out from his bedroom, so excited about this. I'm like, mate, we're off duty. We don't have news all night, right? He grabs the ghetto blaster that I'm listening probably to romantic music with whoever I'm with, and rushes out the door.
One of the French agents, I suspect.
Yeah, one of the French. Well, that would have been nice. And goes rushing out the door. It's fine.
No, it wasn't a ghetto blaster, mate. It was a full mini system.
It was.
Have you any idea what it was like going down to the scene of the Rainbow Warrior?
It was a mini system. It
Speakers
was
coming out either shoulder.
I know.
At least I was getting both sides of the story.
Right. Anyway, this guy goes running off, and that's fine. He disappears. At about 6 a.m. the next morning when I'm getting up and thinking about going into work, Ian turns up, looks me in the eye with dark circles under his, and says to me, "It was the French." And I'm like, the Rainbow Warrior was bombed by the French? Really? Are you kidding me? Are you insane? And, of course, he was right.
It was the first time I've ever been called a conspiracy theorist.
This is what I'm leading up to, right? So Ian and I have known each other for 40 years. Ian has always been a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I have not ever been a conspiracy theorist, ever.
This is...
What? Maybe a couple of conspiracy theories along the way, but not like you. You are, look, you are, let's talk about this. You are, how many kids do you have?
10.
Sorry?
10.
Ian has 10 children. We're the same age, we're around 50. I have 2 children. Ian, do you have any religious beliefs?
I'm providing little taxpayers who are going to look after you in your dotage.
That is quite right. No, serious. Do you have any religious beliefs?
Well, of course I do.
Right. So you're a Christian.
But it's not connected to that.
No, right. But you're a Christian.
It's just good
right?
fun practicing.
I am an atheist. And somehow along the way we have managed to keep this friendship together, right?
Exactly.
Do we have any other differing beliefs?
Well, you're a liberal. I'm a conservative.
I'm not a liberal. I'm a pragmatist.
Pragmatist, progressive. There you go.
Right.
But you're also, I mean, for those who don't know Mark, I mean, he's been overseas for the last umpteen years.
25.
We do go back a long way.
Yep.
And in fact, the last time we worked together, he was one half of the duo, the Top Marks.
Yep, that was a long time ago.
You were Mark Kennedy. And so what are they?
I was Mark Kennedy.
You were with Mark
I've changed it. Now I'm Mark Staufer. I was Mark Kennedy.
I'm confused with the 2 Marks. What are they going to call us? The half Marks now?
The Ian and Mark show. I'm not quite sure.
There you go.
Yep.
But no, I mean, this show tonight is going to be a fascinating show because we have got an awful lot lined up. It's all to do with animals, surprisingly enough. And I remember distinctly you were once...
what did you say? The show is all about animals tonight? I don't know if I want to do an animal show. I've been hired to do an animal show. What?
Walk on the wild side, mate. Walk on the wild side. This is Radio Live. 0800 723 465.
Right.
Look, the issue here and the story that I remember about you distinctly, and I'm sure I've still got the blooper reel audio
really
somewhere.
Bloody bad.
Oh, mate,
what is it,
I'll surprise you one day with it.
Right. What?
You were reading the news on Radio Pacific, the forerunner to Radio Live, way back when.
No, so Pacific, I would have been like cadet journalist. This is just out of school, right? Stuff. 18.
You were 18.
When I had
One
hair
of those late night bulletins at about 2:00 in the morning.
Yep.
Halfway through the bulletin, it's this loud in the middle of the news.
Yep.
You stopped dead.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually stop dead. I sort of recoiled from the chair from which I was reading Radio Pacific National News from and flew across the studio because it was terrifying. And underneath the desk in front of me was a bloody dog. someone had brought a dog into the radio station and stuck it under the desk.
And I think you'd kicked it or something. No, I
don't think I kicked a dog, mate. We're going to have problems if you say
anyway,
I kicked the dog. I kicked the dog and it died, and I'm in trouble.
The news was entertaining. I'll show you because it growled several times.
It did growl several times.
It came out of that booth quite rapidly.
Now let's talk about the truth, because we're at the moment we're the newest radio show in the entire world.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird that you and I have got together because we have such differing views after 30 years. We both kind of changed in terms of politics and belief and religion and all that sort of stuff, but somehow we're still mates. And somehow when we get together, we have conversations. And the other interesting thing is that in terms of conspiracy theories and urban myths and oddities of life, I love it when you go to a party, right? Get a little bit drunk and have a chat with someone. Everyone has a conspiracy theory.
They do.
Right? Everyone does. Now, Ian has more conspiracy theories than most of us, and he's not drunk ever. But this is what we're kind of talking about on the show tonight. It's not just conspiracy theories. It's the weird stuff that happens in New Zealand specifically. So we don't want any fluoride callers, please.
Yes,
Although Ian and I both do not like fluoride. We don't want any JFK assassination callers.
Because we have animal stories tonight. And we have...
I can't believe it. The first show we're doing animal stories. It's ridiculous, right?
Africa and this one. This is a great night. This is a great show. Folks, the whole premise of The Truth is this, is that you have here two guys who have wildly divergent views of the world. And I think that's a bit like our audience and a bit like our life in general, because, that's what debate and argument and good talkback is made from.
Right.
So this is where we're taking it. It's up to you guys to partake, to ring us up and tell us what you think. But we are going to bring you things from the edge and beyond. And we're able to take positions on stories that perhaps sometimes other talk shows don't want to touch. And can
I just say this, that although you and I were very good friends 30 years ago, and we were kind of the same because we were young, and we were kind of... Listen, let's admit it. When you're under 25, you're an idiot. I mean, that's just the way it is, and we should all just admit this once and for all, and then you grow up and you hit wisdom at about 40 or 50. And whatever your definition of wisdom is, Ian and I have very different and differing definitions of wisdom.
Well, that's a story for another day, isn't it?
That's a story for another day. But we can still have a debate about it.
This is Radio Live, 0800 723 465, and you're with Ian and Mark on The Truth on Radio Live. And tonight we have a range of topics to...
it's not really a range, it's bloody animals, right?
Well, it is.
It's animals.
But look, we will be talking to Mike Williams. He's the author of Australian Big Cats. He's got a chapter in that book devoted to New Zealand sightings, and some of you may have heard from time to time talk about a black panther being seen in the South Island.
No, I've never heard about this.
Well, that's because you've been in LA.
Yeah, that is true. No, can we just go back
I've heard the Lord song, mate. They have tigers on chains there.
Can we just go back a little bit here? Big cats in New Zealand is what you're saying. This is what the general... If I was putting $1,000 down on it, I would say that there's evidence of big cats in New Zealand. When you say big, you're not talking about like tabbies... Or large Siamese seal points, right?
No, not just your average house cat. These are things the size of...
Size of what?
A sheep or larger. They're the size of a panther, a small leopard, a cougar, mountain lion.
Where?
Central Otago, Southern Alps.
How long?
Decades.
So what you're saying is that for decades there have been large, ferocious, predatory cats wandering around in the South Island.
Do you know how many people have gone missing in the South Island?
A lot, but how many of them have had fang bites on them when they've been found? Seriously, so where does this come from? Where did this start?
The thing with leopards, mate, is that they put
leopards. It's leopards.
Well, that's what panthers are. They put their prey in trees.
Jesus Christ.
You'd never find them.
I apologise to everyone who's listening. This has gone nuts already.
We will be taking calls. If you have experienced a panther sighting in the South Island or a pig sighting, you can rescue us here on the
So if you're in Westport at the moment... No. Listen, Ian, I really need to know about this. So what you're saying is there are people who believe that there are large cats prowling the South Island in the jungle or the forest or whatever.
They don't just believe in them like fairies at the bottom of the garden. They've seen these things. And that's the twist. We're going to be talking to a guy who's investigated this, Mike Williams.
Since when?
He's a big cat investigator. He'll tell you all about it.
That's a job?
We'll be talking to him.
There is a job called a big cat investigator.
We will be talking to Mike Williams after.
How much does he earn a year?
11 o'clock. It is a fascinating interview. It is a fascinating subject. On our Facebook page, incidentally, you can go to Facebook. Just look for The Truth Radio Live is the Facebook page, The Truth Radio Live, and you'll find us there, or you can go to investigatedaily.com and get to the Facebook page through that as well.
Can we go back to just
a step? A picture of the big cat in New Zealand.
Who took the picture?
A hunter.
When?
Picture of a black panther, what looks like a black panther. He says it looks like a black panther.
I thought you said they were leopards.
He took it from 400 metres away.
Right.
A black panther is a leopard. It's a black panther.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm not a feline expert. Oh, thanks. Oh, geez. Oh, oops. Oh, sorry.
So anyway, you can go to our Facebook page and have a look at the panther photo, the alleged panther photo, and judge for yourself. InvestigateData.com is another way.
Can you give us some background on this, though? Right, I'm willing to go with you a certain way that there may be slightly bigger cats wandering around. How the hell did they get here? They're not natives, right?
That is the fundamental question. No, they're not native.
Thank God for that,
the question is, back in the
that would be bloody terrible.
In my, I recently published a book of New Zealand history stories called Our Stories,
and it's a wonderful book. I'm not giving you a free plug, but it is an excellent book. I've been trawling through it. It's wonderful.
It is a great dipper. It's one of those books you take to bed.
So what it is, it's little snippets from newspapers that you haven't been able to read since the beginning of time.
Exactly,
it's fantastic. It's
the
really
first time
brilliant.
I've seen the light of day in over 100 years. But one of the stories that
enough about that. Let's get on to
that came out in the book. There's a chapter on it. It's about cats, and they had roaming circuses who come over here, and they'd lose all their leopards.
When?
In the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, 1920s.
From where?
From America, from Australia, from all around. Just travelling
like
circuses.
Ringling Brothers.
Like Ringling Brothers.
Right.
They did the rounds of the Pacific.
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, except back in those days, security was
like there's some cats on high wires.
Hey, Cats, there's a musical in that. But anyway, The Truth Radio Live. And anyway, these circuses would lose their animals frequently. And
how do you mean lose their animals?
They'd be performing in the middle of the circus tent.
What, on a trapeze?
No, well, they'd be doing their whips and things with the chairs and with the leopards and the lions, and all of a sudden they'd miscalculate, and a couple of leopards would disappear at the door of the tent. And
the tent flap, not the door, because right.
And anyway,
they'd rush out into Fjordland,
into Fjordland, whatever, wherever the circus was.
Right.
They often had them in Whangarei, and they lost them up there, but they had them in South Island as well.
So are there roaming big cats in Whangarei? No,
none that I know of.
But just in Fjordland. Okay, anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting too much.
Big cats in Whangarei.
Nice. See the way he did that? He just flipped it around, and now I'm the guy who believes in conspiracies.
After the break, The Truth Radio Live, Ian Wishart and Mark Staufer. And after the break, a very special interview, because on the Facebook page, those of you who've clocked in now will have noticed that there is a comment from a gentleman who says, you want to talk about cats, you should be talking about snakes.
Oh, hang on. Are you what, snakes escaped?
We'll come back after the break. This is Radio Live. I'm Ian Wishart. That's Mark Staufer. 0800 723 465 is the number.
It's The Truth with Mark Staufer and Ian Wishart.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Ian Wishart. That's Mark Staufer.
I'm confused. I'm confused. Because we've got these big cats, leopards and / panthers, roving around the country, and not many of us have seen them. And now you've got somebody else who's seen some... Right.
Snakes on a drain, mate. Snakes on a drain.
Tell us. Who is it?
Well, his name is Bob Bradley, and he's a businessman from the South Island who had a gold mining prospect down on the west coast.
How long ago?
This is 1990.
Right.
And he and his son, adult son, were out as fossicking around at the tailings of a gold mine around the sluice, the drain area of the mine.
Right.
And he came upon a snake. And
is he on the line?
He's with us, and we can talk to him.
Bob,
good evening. How are you? Ian Wishart and Mark Staufer on Radio Live.
Hi, Bob.
Tell us your story. What happened?
Oh, well, my son's a geologist, actually, but we were prospecting up and down the coast for some months, and then we finally started mining at one location at Nelson Creek. But it was at Nelson Creek we were actually walking around above some sluice faces and crawling through the shrubbery, actually, quite heavy shrubbery. And next thing, I was reaching out to part some bushes, and I had a snake around my arm.
Bob, Mark Staufer here.
Yeah.
When you say a snake, do you mean a snake?
Yes, a snake, about 2 feet long, and it sort of wasn't right around my arm, but it was sort of on my arm, put it that way.
Bob.
Yep.
When you say a snake 2 feet long, do you mean what sort of snake and what colour?
Well, I later identified it as being, I think it's called a Victorian copper brown. And I was actually later on working at Landcare too. But anyway, just to go on there, I actually flicked my arm out and it went flying off down into the sluice space. But subsequently, we mentioned our experience to a few other miners over there, and they had also, at least 3 others in their experience, had seen snakes too.
So your reaction wasn't an eel or anything silly like that?
No. We're probably 150 feet above the nearest creeks.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So we do have snakes on the West Coast.
No, hang on. Let's get into this a bit more. Bob, have you been around other snakes?
Oh, yes, I worked in Australia for a year, and I worked in the Californian desert for 2 years.
Okay, well, that's that one done with.
So you like snakes.
And so did the snake do anything when it wrapped itself around your arm? Did it bite you?
No. I was reaching through the shrubbery, and next thing it was on my arm, but it wasn't with its mouth around, just its body.
Yep.
And I just flung, huge fright, and just flung my arm out, and it went flying. But my son saw it too.
Is your son there so we can confirm? I mean, listen.
No, he's in Australia. He's a senior geologist at a huge mine over there, but now he is anyway. But
right.
But I can tell you further that subsequently, apart from these other West Coasters, I was working with Landcare doing the Y2K project. I was checking out all of their computer risks and so on around about 1999, and I mentioned it to the scientists there, and they said, oh, yes, we do know there is a small population.
No.
And the statement was that with all the ships coming in from Victoria with the gold rush days, they were coming to places like Charleston, Westport, Karamea, Hokitika, and so on.
Yep.
And he said that the miners were coming from there to join the rush here, and they believe a few snakes would have come through.
This is back in the 1860s.
Yeah, can I just go back a bit? And excuse me, Bob, I'm a bit obtuse because I don't know much about reptiles or mining or the West Coast. So what you're saying is that in the 1860s, right?
Yeah, 1860s.
Right. So a whole bunch of snakes came over with the original miners. Hang on.
What you got,
and they bred and they lived down there in, snake colonies. Is this what you're saying, Bob? And they're still there?
Yeah, I was a wee bit concerned. Another part, like in Victoria, I think maybe too cold on the coast. You get some ripping frost, but so you get them in Victoria as well. I lived in Melbourne for a while and up out at Mildura, and you get real heavy frost there too. But lots and lots of tailings around the West Coast, and that's where these apparently have survived by being amongst the tailings and eating the odd rats or whatever it might be.
I think it's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I think it's
no. Can I stop you there?
Yeah, you can.
And Bob, and sorry, I'm not just playing the skeptic deliberately here.
Yeah.
But as a Kiwi who's lived here for 50 years on and off, I've never heard of any bloody snakes. And if there were any snakes in this country, I would not have come back after 25 years. It's really bloody concerning to me that you're saying there are snakes here.
Well,
and can I ask you a question? You sound like a very intelligent man.
I'm a doctor of, I've got a doctorate, But anyway...
Right, hang on, let me finish the question. You sound like a very intelligent man. You got a doctorate of...
of marketing, actually.
Oh, well, that's different from... Right, anyway, a doctorate of marketing. I mean, that's a doctorate of something, right? So why haven't we heard of these snakes before?
Well, at the time, I rang the MAF authorities, and that's what really amazed me. They were rather disinterested. But the guys at Landcare, where I was working with the teams out at Lincoln, it was, they were a bit nonchalant about it too. But the guy just said, not a big population, just some had come across with the sailing ships that were coming across the Tasman.
But so you say they've been living here since 1860 and breeding, but it's bloody cold down there, so they've been living.
I can shed some light on this, and Bob, you might be interested. I've been since I found out this afternoon. I have made some inquiries with Biosecurity
with snakes. With who? What?
Biosecurity NZ, and they've sent me a news release. So Bob is directly related to you. It says Ministry of Primary Industries is not aware of a colony of Victorian copperhead snakes anywhere in New Zealand. An initial search of databases has not found any record of a notification of these snakes being made to the Ministry through its exotic pest and disease hotline. But of course, Biosecurity NZ didn't exist back in 1990 when you reported this. They go on to say, however, as a precautionary measure, we would certainly recommend the man who feels he's seen these snakes makes a call to MPI's free hotline as soon as possible on 0800 80 99 66 so we can investigate this further.
Yeah.
Alternatively, if a contact number can be supplied, we will make contact with him. The news release is being passed to our investigators. So that's Biosecurity New Zealand. They're very keen to hear from you as to where this happened. In fact, where was it? Where did it happen?
Nelson Creek.
Which is whereabouts exactly?
That's up the Grey Valley and just past Nahiri, before Ahura. And Nelson Creek had quite an extensive, like we mined up there. There's a lot of, we had 6 kilometres of claim.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of old terraces there and with tailings there, but we were mining where they hadn't done it, you know.
Bob.
Yep.
Bob. You're not doing marketing for snakes by any chance. Can you understand? Can you understand that I'm still? It's not that I'm disbelieving you.
He wants you to go.
But I need to learn a little bit more about you. Do you believe in any other strange things, like the snake thing? Are you sure it happened?
Yes. I'm retired now, but I've actually written 5 books in my time as well now. But they're not about snakes; it's about geology and so on. Yeah. But at the time, it was published in the Greymouth paper. We reported it then.
Oh, it made the news headlines.
Yeah,
wow.
In the mid-90s.
Yep.
And as I say, I was working with scientists at Landcare, and they're the ones that confirmed to me that there was a very tiny population that they believed had come across with the ships, because there was no control on them coming from Victoria.
And I suppose the other thing too is about if you were trying to go out deliberately looking for snakes, you could spend a fortune in taxpayers' money searching around for these things in the wild and never find them.
You know
what? Quite remote, away in the bush, and overgrown, very deserted. And Bob, to get around, you're actually using a machete most of the time, so it's pretty remote.
Bob, have you seen any other things that you'd like to share with us tonight?
Big cats?
No,
that's it. Just snakes. Okay, I was being a bit rude there, but listen, I actually, listen. I've heard a lot of weird stories from a lot of weird people, but you're not weird, and I believe you. And I'd love to hear from anyone out there who has met or seen or photographed or viewed anything strange, like just to snakes.
Snakes. Just to put this in perspective, folks, and thank you, Bob. I appreciate your call and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Bob.
It was a
fantastic
interview. Listeners, you heard it here first because this is the first time in New Zealand history that we've actually had confirmation from an eyewitness about snakes being on the loose here, not because they've slipped through customs and border control in a container, but because we have a breeding population left over from the gold mining days.
Right.
Now, the significance of this is, do we have snake antivenom in New Zealand? Well, there's 2 things. Mark's worried about coming back from LA to a country full of snakes. We don't. Let's put this in perspective. We don't have anti-venom. I checked with the Ministry of Health this afternoon on this.
Right.
We have anti-venom for sea snakes, but not for the Victorian copperhead.
Are there sea snakes here?
Yeah, we have sea snakes.
Where?
We get them every summer.
What, in Judges Bay? Where? What, Riccarton? Where?
On the Kuiper Harbour.
I've never heard of a bloody sea snake. No, bullshit.
Sea snake sightings as well.
Yeah, right.
0800 723 465. But
seen
the
a
point about
sea
this
snake?
is we don't have the anti-venom for this particular Victorian copperhead snake. So if you did get bitten by it,
clearly
there would be a trip to Australia to rescue you. However,
would you make the trip? Would you die on the way?
Would you survive the trip? The copperhead is actually a deadly snake,
right?
But they're not aggressive. They're quite shy with humans, and that's why you won't see them. The good news is if they've been here for 150 years, which obviously they have,
they're hiding. They're
hiding.
really clever snakes.
They haven't bred wildly and gone out of control across the South
Island. No, because it's too bloody cold.
It's not quite snakes on a plane.
They're snow snakes, right?
That was the other thing. I read about the Victorian copperhead.
Right.
They're one of the few snakes that can tolerate snow.
See, this show already, and we're only 35 minutes in, and I'm, my job here is to be a little bit of a pragmatist and an unbeliever, but already it's kind of skewed a bit weird because we've got snakes in the South Island, and that seems impossible. The big cat thing, I can believe, and there's a picture on the Facebook page, but it's just, I can't see snakes here. And the next thing, if you do Abominable Snowman, I'm going to punch you in the head.
Radio Live. I'm Ian Wishart. Wishart, that's Mark Staufer. This is The Truth. You can go to our Facebook page on Facebook. The Truth Radio Live is the Facebook page, or investigatedaily.com will get you there as well. We will be back talking with more about these animal stories and the like.
No more snakes, though, right?
Well, I want to take calls from anybody who's actually seen
any
or heard
odd animals.
Give us a call now if you've seen wild panthers or cougars or anything else around New Zealand.
Eaten one even. Got a picture of one.
Proof is not
if you can give us a bloody photograph. If you have been pounced on by one, let us know. Look, we really want to talk to you because I know that there's been a lot of sightings around here. 0800 723 465 Radio Live. I'm Ian Wishart. Back in just a moment.
It's The Truth with Mark Staufer and Ian Wishart.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Ian Wishart, and this is Mark Staufer as well.
Yep.
This is The Truth on Radio Live. It is 20 minutes away from 11 o'clock.
And tonight we're talking about animals, and it's kind of gone in a weird direction for me because we started off talking about big cats, and I'm willing to believe, Ian, because...
I haven't even given you the big cat evidence.
I know, we haven't done that yet. But we have spoken about...
the snakes, and I have given you the evidence.
You suddenly sort of scooted off and towards... it's all gone weird.
Snakes on a drain.
Who have we got?
We have Joe on line 1. Joe, how are you?
Oh, hi, Ian.
Yes.
Yeah, hi.
I'm here too.
Mark, well, there's a question for you. You guys are very entertaining. I would have tuned in if I'd heard you guys were on earlier. Have you been hanging out with, by any chance, Tam Corkery?
Well,
that's to Mark. That's to Mark.
Well, thanks for talking to me, because I thought you were just talking to Ian there for a moment, and you hurt my feelings. But yeah, no, Pam is an old friend of ours because, you know, Ian and I started off way back in the old days when we were young, obviously. And yeah, we love Pam. She's great. Why?
Excellent.
Why do you ask? Does she have a big cat?
I can hear resonance of her attitudes within.
Yeah, I see similarities with Pam and Mark.
Yes.
We've got the same hair.
We've
got the same hairdresser.
I can see it now.
You haven't seen any big cats, have you?
Yep.
Me? Who? Well, regarding that, I've got a little story. It's not very exciting because I was only a kid, but I had regarding, that fellow with the academia.
Yep.
Joe, can I interrupt? And just mention that when you're a kid, everything looks big. So if you're going to tell us a story about a big cat, it's just going to be a bloody tabby or something. Is it about a big cat when you're little?
Tell us.
No, well, it wasn't.
Okay,
it
sorry.
wasn't. I was referring to the chap that rang.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How his story was quite. Well, from what I could gather, he was grasping around in the bushes, in jungle, whatever you call it, and something grabbed him by the arm. I don't think he actually saw it clearly, and it could have been a really angry eel.
Yeah, Ian pointed that. Joe, I'm with. Thank God you're on the pragmatist side. On my side in this, because that was my initial thought. And even Ian, who believes most crap that anybody says about any strange stuff, went, "Oh, perhaps it was an eel." But no, he was pretty sure. And the thing about Bob, and I must say this because most of these people who see strange things, you know, flying objects or snakes around their wrists or large cats, you know, are a little bit strange. But he is credible.
He is.
Well, he said he was a salesman.
No, he's a doctorate of marketing. Same thing, I guess.
Yeah, he's a gold miner as well.
Yeah, gold miner and a doctorate of marketing.
You find the gold and then you market it.
He should come and sell advertising at Radio Live.
Exactly.
We got a job for him.
So, have you seen anything yourself, Joe, at all?
Yes, I'd like to make. There's 2 more points if I can, you guys. I know you're all biting at the bit. When I've heard of these and of these ant sightings. Now, when you see, it is possible for a large panther to survive if it did escape. That's one point. They're absolute amazing hunters and all that. And there've been sightings over in England where. That there actually was animals attacked and stuff. However, but when you're looking through a scope, you know, even if it's a gun scope or a binocular, things look larger than what they perhaps necessarily are. It could just be a really well-fed moggy.
If Moggy is staring, if Moggy is staring at you down the binoculars, it still looks like Moggy, right?
It
It just looks like a big cat.
She has a point, though.
So do I.
No, you both...
I've got one more point.
Yep.
Sorry.
Far away.
I thought you
start
finished.
laughing.
Okay, right.
Right. Well, I am laughing, actually.
Okay, right.
Because it's just so funny. So that was one funny point.
Quick. Go, Joe. Go, Joe.
Yes. Now, when I was I'll bring back to the original, when I was a kid, I thought I was, I don't know, invincible, as you do, and I climbed up this tree that so happened to go over this dark creek, and the branch snapped, and I landed flat bang in it.
Yep.
So here's me in this spooky dark creek. So I rocketed up to the bank, sat there, and we saw this, and it was an eel, but it would be, those eels can be...
bloody big.
Not a year, but up to 100 years old and all this crazy stuff. And it was huge. It was on a Tuk River.
Yep.
Me and my cousin.
It's possibly still there. Eels don't die unless we catch them, apparently.
Or they wrap themselves around your wrist and you throw them off a cliff.
Well, the thing is, it looked like a seal. I just absolutely freaked and ran home, because we just lived up the road. It was
Right.
really freaky.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate your call. Thank you for that.
Can I say something to you, Ian? Joe made just quite a special point there that I'd like to point out, and she said it looked like a seal. And this, to me, is one of the problems of big, strange animal sightings, that this lovely lady who called us up saw an eel and said it was so big it looked like a seal.
It was carrying an S.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, on line 2, we are talking to Rebecca. How are you, Rebecca?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. What can you tell us?
Oh, well, I live in Wanganui.
Yep.
And just outside of Wanganui, near Kaitoki Prison, is a lake Wiritoa. I was driving out there one day to go kayaking with the kids, and I sort of saw a kangaroo. And I came into town and I told somebody, but I was real shamed out because there should be kangaroo out there. And she told me that ages ago there used to be a little zoo around here, and it was wallabies.
Yeah, that'd be right. I've actually seen some driving around Rotorua. The wallabies were driving.
Well, they were driving. You saw driving wallabies around Rotorua.
There's wallabies on the loose, Rebecca, and there are populations. They were released again back in the 1860s by settlers coming in and
hang on.
decided.
Let's just back it up a little bit here.
Oh, come on! You're not going to tell me there's no wallabies.
No. I'm not going to say that. But it's interesting. So, Rebecca, you saw a wallaby bouncing around, or do they jump, or whatever it was, and you were told that there's a whole lot of them living there. Whatever the collective noun for wallabies is.
Wallabettes.
Well, somebody said that a long time ago there used to be some sort of zoo around here, and there was a few out there. It's sort of like there's a number of, there's a large lake and there's a bit of a wetlands area, but it was really odd because I didn't know we had them in New Zealand.
Yep.
Oh, indeed we do, and there's sort of thing that they eat. The big panthers eat wallabies and things like that if they can.
So this is genuine proof that big panthers.
Appreciate your call, Rebecca.
Yeah, right. Okay, so this is genuine proof that big panthers actually are here because there are wallabies and they can eat them instead of the sheep.
That's exactly right. This is Radio Live. I'm Ian Wishart. That is Mark Staufer. You can tell Mark Staufer by now. You know who he is.
Nuts, mate.
He's
crazy.
Like Pam Corkery. It is 13 minutes away from 11.
My hair.
0800 723 465. Back in just a moment. We will be talking.
This is Auckland's Radio Live, 100.6 FM. It's The Truth with Mark Staufer and Ian Wishart.
Welcome back. The truth and nothing but the truth. This is Radio Live.
Not really.
0800 723 465. By the way, folks, if you like what you're hearing and you want to go to our Facebook page, The Truth Radio Live is the Facebook page. And
there are prizes. You should mention that, Ian.
We are giving away...
you should mention that you're a famous author, and you should mention that you've written books and that you're giving them away on the Facebook page. Just saying.
Checks in the mail, Mark. Checks in the mail. We are giving away 4
Just
book
give me
packs.
the check now. Why would it be in the mail when I'm sitting like 5 feet away from you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
That way you can't see what I'm posting.
I hate that. Just pass it over. Cash
Blank
is
check.
good, mate. Cash is
Blank
good.
check.
I happen to have this FPOS machine here. Anyway.
Now, there are on the Facebook page, page, The Truth Radio Live, we are giving away 4 book packs worth $156 each to anyone. Well, not to anyone. You go in the draw to win if you like the Facebook page, because when you like the Facebook page, obviously you become affiliated to the page, and we can identify you when we do the draw, and we'll pick a name out of that list at the end of this coming week.
Oh my God, you're like a parent explaining kind of sex to a child. And if you like the Facebook page, you'll be affiliated to the Facebook page.
That's the way it works. Now, we have 4 books in there. One of them is Totalitaria, which, if you're a conspiracy theory fan, is the book from heaven. Actually,
it's bloody brilliant, might I say. It's a very good book. It's a
fascinating book, if I do say so myself. Our Stories is also in there. It's another great bedtime read.
Which is a fascinating book.
Another book you won't like, Aircon on climate change.
That is a bunch of crap.
And we have also Missing Pieces, for which David Tamahiri, the Swedish tourists Urban Hoagland and Heidi Parkinen, who disappeared in 1989 in the Coromandel. David Tamahiri, John Tamahiri's brother, was convicted of that, and this is the first book on the case. So those books are all being given away as a 4-pack, and there's 4 4-packs, and you can begin to win if you like the Facebook page. Now,
are we doing animals still? Can we move on from that for a bit?
We can. I think we...
Yeah, let's do it.
We have Ewan Wilson, who is an aviation expert. Now, he is writing a book and has, in fact, written a book. It's coming out at the end of the month called Goodnight Malaysian 370, discussing the Malaysian Airlines disappearance. Ewan, good evening. How are you?
I'm really good evening.
Ewan, can I just jump in here? Mark Staufer here. And the name of your book, Goodnight, MH370, seems to suggest you think the Malaysian Airlines flight is no longer in existence.
I think that would be a very well thought out conclusion.
Well, can I ask you that I've heard quite a few conspiracy theories about this, and I'm surrounded by conspiracy theory.
Good on you.
In the studio right now, I'm surrounded by one conspiracy theory person. Is it not on an island somewhere? Is it not in the south of China? Is it not up in the sky with a UFO? Where is this bloody plane?
Look, tragically, it's certainly not. It hasn't landed somewhere other than, I think, ultimately in the ocean, in the southern Indian Ocean. It certainly isn't on the island of Diego Garcia. That sounds more like a soccer player than an island, but it's not there, and nor is it in China.
Right. So what you're saying is, see, this is what, look, to be honest, my problem with this conspiracy theory about this plane is that, from the very beginning, I thought, oh, it's just fallen out of the sky and sunk into the ocean. And I realized that's not all of the conspiracy theory about this. How did this happen? Why is this plane sunk to the bottom of the ocean?
Well, look, I guess to sort of answer that question, first I'd want to say that the way we approached this book was on a sort of an analysis of the available evidence, and then the subsequent methodology was one going through all the other would-be scenarios and slowly debunking them. So if you'd like, I'll start at the end of the story. The aeroplane crashed in the southern Indian Ocean. There is no doubt about that. I think Inmarsat has that right. The mystery is, how did it get there? And the critical time period is the 61 minutes from when the aircraft, either the transponder and ACAS failed or they were deliberately switched off, and the 61 minutes that it took to fly back across the Malaysian peninsula, and then the southerly turn around the top end of Sumatra and into the Indian Ocean. That's the real hub of the mystery.
I see here you and investigators have discovered possible evidence of tampering with the aircraft cockpit equipment. A report by Australian air crash investigators says the 777 suffered a mysterious power outage during the early stages of its flight before the transponders were switched off. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously one of the things about the 777 is its level of complexity and level of redundancies. And there is a lot of projections regarding whether or not that was in the very early part of potentially one of the pilots switching off some parts and power to some parts of the avionics. But with the 777 and its redundancies, obviously And we go into that in detail in the book. Clearly, we believe the aircraft compensated for that.
Just running up to the news, but I just want to get this question in. What about the Northern Arc? Are we really sure that Inmarsat hasn't sent itself in a different direction, perhaps, than where the plane might have gone?
Look, the raw data that Inmarsat has used to determine their calculations have been sort of independently reviewed, a peer review by the London College, and they're saying that Inmarsat has it right, and we believe they've got it right as well. I guess, as I said, the ultimate question is what happened in that 61 minutes from when it disappeared from secondary radar. And we believe we know the answer to that.
Well, Ewan, listen, just hang on with us and we'll take the news and come back to you, because at the moment I have a real problem with this, and Ian and I will talk about this a little bit, but for me there is no conspiracy whatsoever, and we'll get into that after the news.
Well, we'll come back in a second, but I just want to touch on this, Ewan. The book is called Goodnight Malaysian 370. When's it coming out?
Comes out on the 30th of July, either here in New Zealand in good bookstores or at Amazon.com.
What sort of demand are you getting for it?
We've just been astonished with the level of interest, particularly in the UK. We dominated most of the UK papers 2 weeks ago when we came out with the news of the book. We've had some great inquiries from Asia. So we're relatively upbeat about its commercial viability. But at the end of the day, for me, it's more about the investigation and getting to the truth.
I mean, you're no stranger to aircraft danger. Your own plane caught on fire once, didn't it?
Yeah, out of Brisbane down for Norfolk Island, 10 tons of cargo, and we had an onboard fire. Never a dull moment.
We'll come back to you after the news, Ewan. Stay with us if you can. And this is Radio Live. 0800 723 465 is the number. If you want to talk to us about any of these topics at all, Malaysian MH370, or the big cats, will be after you and after the news. We'll be talking to Mike Williams, the author of the Australian Big Cats.
Or snakes.
Snakes as well, if you've seen snakes. Give us a call.
Trouser snakes, even. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think
anything
so.
interesting.
0800 723 465 is the phone number. Radio Live is the station. The truth, nothing but the truth. And our Facebook page, just a reminder, folks, go to the Facebook page. The Truth Radio Live is the Facebook page. Like the page, you will automatically go in the draw to win one of 4 book packs valued at $156 each. The books are Totalitarian.
Who wrote these, Ian?
Our Stories, Aircon, Missing Pieces.
Sound interesting.
Well, when your book comes out, maybe we can offer one of them.
No, I'm not going to give a children's book away on this show. That would be weird.
This is Radio Live. I'm Ian WIshart. That's Mark Staufer. Join us after the news. Take